Today, we dive deep into How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, a timeless guide to mastering relationships, influence, and leadership. Welcome to English Bookshelf, where every book becomes a friend and every story teaches a new life lesson. What if I told you that your success in life has very little to do with your intelligence and almost everything to do with how people feel around you? Dale Carnegie opens this timeless book with a truth that quietly shakes your ego. You don't succeed because you are right. You succeed because people want to listen to you. You don't move ahead because you are talented. You move ahead because people trust you. And trust is not built through arguments. It is built through understanding. This book is not about changing the world. It is about changing the way you deal with the world. Because the moment you understand people, life becomes less exhausting. Relationships stop feeling like battles. Conversations stop feeling like competitions. And success stops feeling lonely. Carnegie explains something uncomfortable. Every human being you meet has one deep emotional hunger. Not money, not fame, not power, but importance. People want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. They want to feel respected. And most conflicts are born when this need is ignored. We argue to prove we are right. We criticize to feel superior. We complain to release frustration. But the book reveals a hard truth. Criticism never changes people. It only makes them defensive. When you criticize someone, you don't open their mind. You close it. Because the human ego protects itself first and learns later. That's why Dale Carnegie says something radical. Don't criticize. Don't condemn. Don't complain. Not because people are perfect, but because criticism kills influence. Think about the last time someone criticized you. Did you feel inspired? Or did you immediately start defending yourself? That reaction is human nature. Even people who are wrong believe they are right. So when you attack someone's pride, you don't change behavior. You create resistance. This book teaches that understanding is more powerful than force. Another quiet lesson in this book is about appreciation. Most people go through life starving for appreciation. They work hard. They sacrifice. They struggle silently. And all they want is one sentence: I notice you. But instead, they are ignored. Carnegie explains that honest appreciation is rare. And what is rare is powerful. Not fake compliments, not flattery, but sincere recognition. When you genuinely appreciate someone, you touch their emotions. And once emotions are touched, people cooperate willingly. This book slowly shifts your mindset. You stop trying to impress people. You stop trying to dominate conversations. Instead, you learn to connect. You realize that people don't care how smart you are. They care how you make them feel. And the fastest way to someone's heart is genuine interest. Most people want to be interesting. Very few people want to be interested. But the secret is simple. If you listen deeply, people open up. If you remember names, people feel valued. If you talk about what matters to them, they feel respected. And suddenly, relationships start building themselves. Dale Carnegie is not teaching manipulation. He's teaching empathy. Not tricks, but psychology. Not control, but connection. And slowly you realize something powerful. This book is not about winning people. It is about understanding them. Because when people feel understood, they naturally move closer to you as the book moves forward. Dale Carnegie begins to reveal something most people never realize. People don't resist ideas. They resist being forced. They don't dislike change. They dislike being told they are wrong. This is why some people can influence without authority, while others fail, even with power. Carnegie explains that the fastest way to lose influence is to argue. Because the moment you argue, the other person stops listening and starts protecting their ego, you may win the debate, but you lose the relationship. And without relationships, influence disappears. The book teaches a quiet skill that changes everything. Respect, not agreement, not surrender. Respect. When you respect someone's viewpoint, even if you disagree, you keep the door open. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," you say, "I may be mistaken." That single sentence changes the energy of the conversation. Because humility disarms resistance. Carnegie reminds us that no one likes to feel inferior. When you make someone feel small, they will fight back emotionally. But when you make them feel respected, they become open. This is how true influence works, not through pressure, but through cooperation. Another powerful idea in the book is about listening. Most people listen only to reply. They wait for their turn to speak. They don't actually hear. But when you truly listen, something magical happens. People feel safe. They feel accepted. They feel important. Carnegie explains that being a good listener is more attractive than being a great speaker. Because when you listen, people associate good feelings with you. And humans always return to places where they feel good. This book also talks about names. A simple detail, yet incredibly powerful. A person's name is the sweetest sound they will ever hear. When you remember someone's name, you send a message. You matter, not because of status, not because of usefulness, but because you are you. And that small effort creates a deep impression. Carnegie explains that friendship grows not through big gestures, but through small acts of respect. A smile, a name remembered, a sincere question. These things cost nothing, but their impact is priceless. As you go deeper, you realize this book is not about changing others. It is about removing your own ego, because ego blocks connection. When you talk less about yourself and more about others, people feel drawn to you. When you show curiosity instead of superiority, people trust you. Carnegie also speaks about appreciation again, but this time from a deeper angle. He says that every human action is driven by desire, and the strongest desire is the desire to feel important. When you fulfill that desire in others, they respond willingly, not out of obligation, but out of emotion. This is why leaders who appreciate their people create loyalty, and leaders who criticize create fear. Fear may produce obedience, but never loyalty. The book gently teaches that to influence people, you must stop trying to control them. Instead, you must inspire them. And inspiration comes from understanding. One truth becomes clear. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. And influence lives there. As the book goes deeper, Dale Carnegie begins to talk about something that most people struggle with their entire lives. How do you change someone without hurting them? How do you correct someone without creating resentment? How do you lead without making people feel small? Carnegie explains that the moment you make someone feel embarrassed, you lose them, because humiliation kills motivation. People don't change when they feel attacked. They change when they feel understood. That is why Carnegie suggests a powerful shift in behavior. Before correcting others, talk about your own mistakes. When you admit your flaws first, you remove their defensiveness. You send a message, "I am human too," and suddenly, the conversation becomes safe. Instead of pointing fingers, you build connection. This book teaches that authority does not come from position. It comes from respect, and respect is earned through humility. Carnegie also explains why orders often fail. When you command people, you trigger resistance, because humans want control over their choices. But when you ask questions, you invite cooperation. A simple change in language, changes everything. Instead of saying, "Do this," you say, "What do you think would be best?" That one sentence turns resistance into participation. People support what they help create. This is one of the most powerful ideas in the entire book. Influence is not forcing others to follow your plan. It is helping them believe it is their plan. Carnegie explains that everyone wants to feel capable. So when you encourage people, when you express confidence in them, they rise to meet that expectation. Criticism focuses on weakness. Encouragement focuses on potential. And potential is motivating. The book shows that even difficult people respond when treated with dignity. Not because they suddenly change, but because you change the environment around them. People often behave according to how they are treated. Treat someone like a problem, they act like one. Treat someone like a solution, they try to become one. Carnegie also talks about praise. Not exaggerated praise, not fake praise, but honest recognition of even small improvements. When you praise effort, people try harder. When you praise progress, people continue. This is how growth happens. Slowly, quietly, without pressure. The book reminds us that leadership is not loud. It does not shout. It does not threaten. True leadership guides. It inspires. It lifts others without pushing them down. As you listen to these ideas, you realize something important. Most conflicts in life are not about facts. They are about feelings. And when you learn to handle feelings, facts become easier to accept. This book changes how you see authority. It teaches you that real power is gentle and real influence is respectful. As the book moves closer to leadership, Dale Carnegie makes something very clear. Leadership is not about control. It is about inspiration. People don't follow you because they have to. They follow you because they want to. And the reason they want to is emotional, not logical. Carnegie explains that every person is driven by their own dreams, their own fears, their own sense of identity. If you ignore those things, you may manage people, but you will never lead them. True leadership begins when you stop asking, "How can I get people to do what I want?" and start asking, "How can I help people get what they want?" Because when people feel that you understand their desires, they trust your guidance. The book talks about motivation in a way that feels surprisingly modern. Carnegie explains that people don't change because of pressure. They change because of vision. When you help someone see how an action benefits them, they act willingly. This is why great leaders don't give orders. They create pictures of the future. They show people what is possible. And once people see possibility, they move on their own. Another powerful idea in this part is about respect. People will forgive mistakes. They will tolerate weakness, but they will never forget disrespect. When you embarrass someone publicly, you damage their pride. And pride, once damaged, creates distance. Carnegie reminds us that saving someone's dignity is more important than proving your point. If you must correct someone, do it privately. If you must guide someone, do it gently. Because the goal is not victory. The goal is growth. This book also explains why appreciation works better than criticism. In leadership, when people feel appreciated, they feel secure. And when people feel secure, they perform better. Fear may create discipline, but it destroys creativity. Encouragement creates confidence, and confidence fuels excellence. Carnegie shares stories of leaders who transform teams, not by punishment, but by belief. When leaders believed in people before they believed in themselves, people grew. This is the invisible power of leadership. The book also talks about example. People don't follow words, they follow behavior. If you want honesty, be honest. If you want respect, show respect. If you want effort, give effort. Leadership begins within, and influence flows outward. As this part unfolds, you realize something quietly powerful. Dale Carnegie is not teaching tactics. He is teaching character. Because character is what people trust. When no one is watching, this part of the book feels like a mirror. It asks you to look inward, to examine how you treat people. When you are tired, when you are stressed, when things don't go your way. Because that is when leadership is truly revealed. We will bring everything together. We will see how these principles shape not just careers, but entire lives, and how mastering human relationships becomes the ultimate life skill. As Dale Carnegie brings this book to its quiet conclusion, everything begins to come together. All the lessons, all the stories, all the insights, and one truth becomes clear. This book was never about winning people. It was about understanding them. Because once you understand people, conflict loses its power, anger softens, ego relaxes, and connection replaces control. Carnegie reminds us that every human being you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about, and kindness, more than intelligence, more than talent, more than force, is what opens doors. The book gently teaches that influence is not something you take. It is something you are given when people trust you. And trust is built slowly, through respect, through listening, through sincerity. When you stop trying to prove you are right, you start building relationships. When you stop demanding attention, you start earning it. When you stop criticizing, you start inspiring. Carnegie explains that the most successful people in the world are not those who dominate conversations. They are those who make others feel heard. They are not those who show superiority. They are those who show understanding. This book invites you to change the way you walk through life, to replace arguments with empathy, to replace judgment with curiosity, to replace ego with humility. And in doing so, you begin to notice something remarkable. People respond differently to you. Conversations feel lighter. Conflicts feel smaller. Opportunities appear unexpectedly. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Dale Carnegie's message is timeless. Because human nature has not changed. People still want to feel important. They still want to be respected. They still want to be understood. And when you give people these things, they give you something priceless in return. Trust. The book ends not with rules, but with responsibility. The responsibility to treat people better, to listen deeper, to speak kinder. Because influence carries weight, and how you use it shapes your life and the lives around you. As you close this book, you realize something quietly profound. Success is not built by stepping over people. It is built by walking with them. And leadership is not about standing above others. It is about lifting them up. This is the true art of winning friends and influencing people, not through force, not through manipulation, but through humanity. If this story resonated with you, remember this. People may forget your words, they may forget your achievements, but they will never forget how you made them feel. This was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If this summary inspired you, subscribe to English Bookshelf, where every book changes the way you see the world.